Technologic.
Marketing Tech Blog.
Because this is what people are like now. They got their phone and they're like, it won't. Give it a second. It's going to space. Can you give it a second to get back from space?
Technologic. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, crash it.
Yes. There he is.
That's me. I don't have anything to add to the mobile conversation. I think I think you provide good, valid things there.
Well, you got to give it up to Mr. Critchlow. That was a pretty intense article.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we weren't able to cover, but I mean, the app and mobile space.
The fact that it's no longer something extra to do, and
Right.
it should be integrated in everything.
Everything that you do.
I totally agree with that. We need to remake our app too. I know Aaron's going to help us with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we had a good week on the Marketing Tech Blog. We had a webinar this week with a sponsor of our, Sales View, and it was on the math of sales, and it was a pretty fascinating conversation with their team on basically there's a lot of bunk information out there on the number of outbound calls that teams are making. So there's quoted huge studies that the average number of calls that it takes to close a client is 8 calls, and the maximum number you should make is 4 calls or whatever.
Right.
And so what they've done is utilizing they're installed in hundreds if not thousands of different Salesforce integrations. They basically analyzed all of the components associated with what it takes for outbound calls. And what they found was market size has a huge impact on it. The industry has a huge impact on it.
Right.
The size of the engagement has a huge impact on it. And so what they basically came out with a formula and a white paper that we have posted on the Marketing Tech Blog. Or on Sales View, I should say, but they can follow the links. Yep. We'll make sure they can follow the links. But it's called the Math of Sales, and so with this, you can basically see, and there's a calculator on Sales View site. You have that Bitly link. What is it? bit.ly/ROI calc.
No, CALCU.
Okay, calcu.
Calc was already.
You set that up, didn't you?
I know. That's okay. We'll put a post out there after the show. But basically, what it allows you to do is look at how much money you're leaving off the table.
Right.
So if you're making outbound calls and you're calling on either clients for upsell or you're calling prospects to try to sell them. The fact is that if you're not just on a continuous basis calling people, you're leaving money off the table. And I'll throw a couple examples out there. And this is I think this aligns perfectly with marketing as well. And that's that people, blog for 3 months and they say it didn't work. Right? How often do we see that? Well, the same thing happens with sales routines is they say, well, I called them 3 times, they're not interested.
Right.
And they forget that maybe after that 3 times, their budget opened up. Or maybe after that 3 times, they hired new people. Or
there's a life cycle of the customer. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're looking at it from your perspective of when this client is ready and not looking at it from when they're ready, their perspective. And so Bill does a great job of discussing, and Peter on the call did a great job of discussing, that the average, like for Sales View, what was it, 12 calls?
Yeah, for 12 for Sales View.
Yeah, 12 was the average number of calls for Sales View. And then the bigger the engagement, the more calls it actually took. And so sometimes nobody responded, for 4 months, 5 months, whatever. And so anyways, if you get to check out the webinar is recorded.
Yep. So the link is available on the Marketing Tech Blog in the event section.
And so check that out. The second one that I wanted to talk about was the big news, or maybe not so big news, of Ello, ELLO.
Right.
Hello.
Thank you. They need to record
That's
that.
a jingle. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I joined Ello, and it's pretty clunky right now. I think it's working well, but it's basically another social network, and everybody goes, oh my God, another social network. But what these guys put in their manifesto was basically that they were never going to monetize your data, ever. Ever.
Very cool.
So never are they going to place advertisements that people purchase based on that they would sell subscriptions for.
So how are they going to make money?
Well, that's the question, right? And I don't think they can answer that. And what I wrote a blog post, the questions that aren't being asked about Ello, and this is the fact, is I think they're making a mistake. I think that this manifesto of corporate marketing is evil is really just a terrible, terrible myth that we have out there. And that's this, is that we all have products, right? We have products sitting in front of you. You have you got a Canon phone right over there?
Uh-huh.
You got a Canon phone, you got your Apple iPad, you got an Android pad over there?
Yeah, the Nexus 7 and Moto X.
Exactly. And you like those, right?
I do.
Yeah, and you'll probably upgrade when there's opportunities and you have the funds and everything else.
Yeah.
The fact is, and we all have cars, and we have all these different brands that we like in our life. And so this notion somehow that marketing is evil or whatever, I think has to go away, and that's that we want to have relationship with brands. That was the promise of social networking, was that now all of a sudden we could complain to them, or we could talk to them, or we could provide feedback to them and everything else. Right. Now, Facebook pulled the carpet out from under us because they let us build pages and build audience and community, and then they said, yeah, but we're not going to show that to anybody. You have to buy ads, in order to do it. And I feel like Facebook set us back.
Yeah, for marketers, absolutely.
Yeah, and so they basically said, no, now you got to advertise, which means that now we got to accumulate data, and we have to sell that data, and we have to sell ads based on that data.
Right.
But what marketers are trying to achieve with that is still trying to engage with consumers and build a relationship there. So I don't think that Ello is the answer. I really don't, especially with that manifesto. I think they're going in the wrong direction. But I do believe that there is an opportunity to build a new technology, a new social network of some sort that really does allow businesses and consumers to meet, greet, and in a permission-based manner, get in front of each other. I think advertising on Facebook sucks. We do it because we have to. It's a necessary evil.
Right.
But I don't want to sit there and put ads in front of everybody's face that's not interested. I would much rather have a system that made it easier for people to find us and for us to find them. Yeah. And I think that's every single advertiser is like that.
Trying to be just more and more authentic, and we got to find that medium of that type of social media that gets past the plastering of ads to try to bring you in and the same type of hook.
Century-old technology,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Eyeballs and ads. That's what everybody talks about. So check those articles out. We also have a couple of things, how to calculate the predicted increase in sales from online reviews. I know we've done several shows on that.
Absolutely.
But this is a study where they actually calculated what the impact would be of negative reviews, corrected reviews, and good reviews. And then we have a huge infographic up on all the details you need to rank locally for SEO. And it's a monster. There's
we're going to check that out,
Yeah.
see if we can add a few comments into that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Doug,